What are a couple property types to watch out for in 2025 if you happen to be buying a home? My name's Evan Coppin, your VA loan originator. We used to work with a lot of folks buying all different types of properties. That could be a single family home, it could be a multi-family, a duplex, triplex, quad, could be a condo, a town home, could be a ranch. There's multiple different types of homes out there. There are two types of properties that I would be very cautious of now here in 2025 and really maybe in the short term for a while in the future. Number one, condos. You want to watch out with condos because what I've seen over the last 1 to 2 years is a lot of shifts in how condo associations are handled. Because one thing you got to understand, condos have a condo association and they usually dictate some part of the property you're buying. Meaning that, because the whole point of a condo is, hey, we're buying this property and then there's all these other same ones next to it. They can be connected, separate, there's a couple different ways to be done. But point is, we're all effectively banding together and our condo association is going to take care of certain things for the condo that we own. That's generally like, hey, the condo association take care of the roof, the common areas. It could be the siding. It could be variations of different things. But the key is you're reliant on a lot of your neighbors, the people in the condo association, to help make sure that the condo is well run. And in 2025, and really we're seeing it in 24, starting to see it in 23, condo associations have run into a lot of issues. And that's heavily because a lot of costs have changed dramatically in just the past couple of years. Give you a big example of condo we were working on. Insurance. Condos have to have a master insurance policy for everything. And insurance has changed drastically the last couple of years with all the different weather issues that we've had, hurricanes, what we saw in like the Carolinas, what we're now seeing, for example, like California. All those issues have caused insurance to increase dramatically, and condo associations sometimes are slow to adjust. And if they were slow to adjust, or now all of a sudden insurance companies put on higher standards for the insurance, you might be buying a condo that you're not aware of that increase coming anytime soon. And that's where I'd say you just want to be really aware that when you're buying a condo, you're going to pay particular attention to what might be happening to any potential future assessments on the condo. If a condo has a change, you could be assessed for either a major repair or you can have your monthly condo costs go up. And so you want to pay attention to that and ask about it. So if you're working with a real estate agent that is helping you with a condo, you want to ask for the papers, everything related to condo association, the declaration pages. You want to get the insurance policy yourself to look at it. And then if you want to go a step further, you want to make sure that you look maybe at the meetings that the condo association has had. If you could talk with some of the folks on the board and whatnot with the condo association, that'd be wonderful. But if you can look back at the recent meetings that they've had to see if they've been meeting, for one, and number two, if they record any discussions of a potential future assessment, that can help give you an idea if the condo is looking in relatively good shape or prepared for any potential future assessment changes. Because here's the thing, you could buy that condo and you could be told, hey, this is the amount for the condo association. There's no assessment. Here's the dues. And then it could change just a couple months after. Bam, it could change and you can be like, why didn't I know that? Well, they don't really have to notify you until they make the official change. If they were talking about it for months ahead, they don't need to tell you necessarily about that either when you're going through the purchase process. So that's why you want to maybe look at those meeting minutes that they would have had at condo association meetings. And the big reason is because you can get hit with a massive change. Another small example with those condo associations that we're seeing in some areas, like Florida, for example. All of a sudden, there's a lot of structural requirement changes for insurance again and other things. And so now all of a sudden, those associations, they went from when they only needed to have certain structural things reviewed every so many years, it's now shrunk. So they have to have it looked at again. Or they need to increase the roofs. Golly, I feel like roofs everywhere, Midwest and all. All of a sudden, insurance companies are getting much more selective on how old your roof can be. And so if the condo association's taking care of roofs, and before they're like, hey, it's good if the roof is at least 15, 20 years, okay, we're still okay for stuff. Now all of a sudden they're saying it's got to be replaced, let's say, in 10 years. And it was a 12, 13-year-old roof. You would have been fine for a few years before. Now all of a sudden, oh, crud, we might be uninsurable. Now they got to change it. Big assessment can come due. Point is, condos, they have their place, no doubt about it, and can be good in some certain situations, but you just really need to pay a lot of attention to them because you're becoming dependent on other people. It's frankly what it comes down to. When you buy a single family home that has no condo association or HOA for that matter, HOA can kind of find homeowner association in a similar world. That's usually much less of an issue because you're not taking care of or as dependent on your neighbors. But point is, when you're dependent on others or other people have control over what can happen to your monthly costs, you need to be really cautious. And that's what happens with condos. So that's number one. Remember, I mentioned there's two property types that I watch out for. Just be cognizant of that, hey, you might run into some potential issues, especially here in 2025. So the next one are new builds. Well, one good thing, the time frame to build them has come back a little bit for the most part. Used to be COVID, the extension time all of a sudden a year, 18 months to build a darn home. And the prices could be so darn variable. Today, we've seen that shrink a bit. However, the amount of demand for new builds has actually decreased, or I should say the number of build permits has decreased, to where now we're seeing some builders having to offload things or build things cheaper to make sure they keep their margins healthy. So, and this is just a general assessment, my opinion and view on this one, and having grown up in a family of builders too, just seeing how the ebbs and flows can happen in the housing, in the home building as a whole. Hey, right now, some builders are starting to hurt for building their homes, and they're cutting back on some corners for different things. I've walked through a few homes recently where I definitely would question sometimes the build and the construction quality of what they've done. There's actually been now a new crop up of a whole bunch of different folks out there that have now started showing some of the issues they've seen with buildings. So some home inspectors that have done that pretty well, and real estate agents just pointing out the quality of homes that people are getting today. But no doubt there are still some wonderful quality builders. And that just comes back to that whole concept that I just mentioned with the condo association. The key here is you want to research and pay a lot of attention to who you have managing your condo or building your new home. If you're going to build a home, you really want to vet out your builder and make sure you see what the quality is that they have and what they have done. So one thing I've recommended before to past clients is, hey, if you're planning to use a builder, go see some of the previous homes they've built, but don't just do it alone either. Sometimes it's worthwhile to get an inspector to go with you and even some other previous homes, just to say, what are some weird things that this builder might have done wrong that I should be aware of on my future one? This way you don't get locked in all of a sudden, already signing a contract, starting the build process, then the inspector comes. Now you're stuck with this builder, and then all of a sudden you're trying to negotiate and tell them you're not building it right, and they're like, well, you saw what we had done. Go beforehand. Go see some of their previous builds. It's worthwhile to have another professional who maybe inspects homes go through some of that to check it out with you, to give you an idea of some of the issues they might see in another build, because that gives you some indication of how they might handle yours. Because here can be the big problem with a new build. You get under contract, you get rolling, depending on how your contract's written or how things are done, they might not have to actually make sure everything is good, sturdy, complete, or I should say to a level that you would actually want in the long run. And that's one of the dangers of just doing a new build. There's still a lot of risk in what could happen with the prices of material, what could happen potentially with any way they're going to build it that you might not have thought how they were going to do it, and you come to butt heads. Well, you're locked in with them. It's going to be a pain to get out of it sometimes. Because there's again, it comes back to like the condo deal. You're dependent heavily on someone else. So those are the two types that, honestly, most years I would say, hey, those are two types you want to always scrutinize and be careful with. But especially because of the insurance change and the shift in home building demand changes that we've seen, those are the two that I would pay particular attention to if you're deciding to do this year, to be more cautious, do more due diligence, and make sure you're either working with a real estate agent that can help you walk through those things and working with a lender that can also sometimes help explain those things. And I mean, if we've worked with you before, we've seen some of the discussions we've had similar to this as well. Be more than happy to help you if you're looking to buy a home here in the near future and discuss any of these same things along the way. So again, my name's Evan Kaufman. Can help folks in just about every state out there, especially our military families who are moving to major military installations. Hope this helped you. We'll talk to you later. Take care.